We're going to conduct a design sprint for a company called Fox Architecture. Sorry, I moved out your way, Barnaby. So Fox Architecture, what they did was they started with a particular problem. The problem they had were that their clients were struggling with the design, with that process from initial contact all the way through to council approval. So what would typically happen within the design sprint process would be they'd approach a facilitator or they'd do it internally. They'd have a problem, a big problem that they wanted to solve, and they'd get in contact and they'd start from this point. Now, in the context of Fox Architecture, if we just imagine that they really exist, and they don't, they're a company that are a little bit behind the times in terms of they don't have all the latest technology. They can see their competitors are winning in areas that they can't compete in at the moment because they don't have those capabilities. But they do good work and they have good client relationships and they have this ambition to improve. So they see the sprint as a really valuable process. So bear that in mind. So we're going to refer back to that. Now the design sprint process takes over 5 days, and this is generally how it works, from map to sketch to design to prototype and test. And as soon as you start the design sprint process, you light the fuse, or light the match, so to speak, because you know by Friday the time is ticking and you've got absolutely nothing at the moment, and you've got a couple of people coming in to test and validate, and then after that you've got an exec team wanting to know what you've been doing for the last 5 days in a room locked up. So the pressure's on as soon as you decide. So the first day is all about mapping. And what I mean by mapping, we're going to build a customer journey map shortly, is that you're going to do all your research, get a lay of the land, map out that journey map, and then pick a target, because that target is where you're going to focus on for the rest of the week. So the first thing you really need to do is you need to understand what that problem space is. You don't go straight into the solution. You have to understand and get a lay of the land. And usually that is through these 3 circles, you know, from what's feasible as a business, what's viable, what are your capabilities, you know, in terms of that longer term goal and what you're capable of achieving within that week and how that ladders up to the business objectives and the business vision. And what's desirable, both for yourself as a business, how does that kind of comply with what you're trying to achieve, and also for your customers, what will they like? From there, you refer to blockers to inspire sprint questions. This was something that always stumped me when we started doing design sprints a while back. What were sprint questions? Sprint questions, because you have a good team in the room, they understand what the problems are, what the challenges, the blockers, the threats, whether they're within the organisation or they're from adjacent organisations. So they understand, and what they do is they reframe those to sprint questions. The value of sprint questions are they become the markers and the validation points that you use throughout that sprint process all the way into the prototype and when you test, because you know they're like your metrics that you are basically assessing it against. Next, you talk to subject matter experts. These could be customers, these could be people within the organisation, not part of the sprint team, these could be suppliers. So in the case of going back to Fox, they might be suppliers, they might be existing customers, they might be people that are new to the company and people that have been with the company for a while or moved on. So you bring these guys in. When you bring these guys in, has anyone heard of the exercise called How Might We? Awesome. So How Might We are basically, it's a form of note-taking. And what you do is you reframe the notes that you're taking. So instead of just taking a passive note, it's more of an active note. So you just put how might we or HMW in the corner, and then you rephrase things. How might we connect better with our customers, from Fox's example? How might we embrace new technologies? How might we speed up that process? How might we make the council that process a lot easier so they can get access to all the different design assets? And finally, you identify key personas. Now this is where I'm going to get some help from the audience. So I'm going to just pick on a few people to help me out here. And just go with me. I don't usually do like the role-playing part in these things. And there's a point to me doing this. So I'm going to need, could I ask you 2 guys to stand up? You knew I was going to pick on you. See,
we do know each other.
You do? Yeah, if I get you guys to just stand over there. There's Matt. I know you. Matt, hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
And sorry?
Laura.
Laura. So Laura and Matt are our clients. Now, I won't say anything, so bear with me for this persona. If I get you to hold this, if you could come over here. So these guys have moved interstate. They're looking to get their dream home. They don't know much about Adelaide. They're looking to settle down. They're looking to get a house for the next 10 to 15 years. They can't, and they want a space that they can grow into. They're not looking to move, and they're a little bit worried about the whole process. They've heard different things about that whole design process. So the next person I need a designer. Do you mind? If that's all right? How you doing?
Good.
What's your name?
Teal.
Teal?
That's
Nice.
it.
Thanks, Teal. All right, is T-E-A-L?
Yep.
Awesome.
T-E-A-L, yep.
Teal works for Fox. He's a designer that's been there.
Thank
You're
you.
very brave. He's a designer that's been at the company maybe 2 years. Oh, sorry. He's a designer that's been at the company for maybe 2 years. His friends are in different companies. He's got a real desire to see this work and to see technology embraced by the organisation. He recognises the fact that they do great work, but he thinks the limitation is from a tech piece. Next, we're going to need one more person. Do you mind helping out? Awesome. You're going to be our project manager builder. Excellent. What's your name? Shireen. S.
C-H-E-R-E-E.
E-R.
Double E.
Double E.
Yeah.
Cherie, thank you.
Yeah.
If you just hold that and join the guys in the line.
Sure.
So Cherie is our builder. Cherie is a supplier and works with Till. She does quoting and she basically is a real good contact point for Till in terms of validating and telling you how feasible his designs are. They have a crappy process, which is just emails going backwards and forwards. Sometimes things get lost. Till gets frustrated. Cherie gets frustrated. Her builders sometimes get the wrong materials when it gets down the line. And finally, we need a council rep. Do you mind helping out here? Yeah. Cheers. Anyone want to boo? What's your name, buddy?
Michael.
Michael, thank you so much. Come up and stand up with us. A-E-L, isn't it? Yeah. So Michael is our council rep. He's at the end of the line of all of this. He's the guy. So you bear in mind that Fox problem. So the Fox problem basically was all the way through to concept design. That's where we're stopping. We're not worried about the building process. So Michael, he gets a lot of blame. He has a lot of stakeholders, red tape and things like that, bureaucracy to go for. He just wants an easy life. He ideally would like to get the design process through as quickly as possible and improve as much as he can, but sometimes he gets different formats. He has to do a lot of chasing. So these are our personas. Already, by me bringing these guys up, I'm starting to bring to life this problem, and you're starting to understand the business a little bit more. You can put faces to the people that are affected by the design challenge, and it takes it away from what the business problem is, all of a sudden to what the customer needs are. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a journey map with these guys. So we want to give them a little clap for volunteering. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you for helping out. So generally, with I'll make sure I don't write with the Sharpie marker. So usually, when we do journey maps, what happens is you can do this pretty much in a day or 2 days per persona, but we don't have time. We're in a sprint. We've most probably got about 20 minutes to half an hour to put together a journey map. And that's not a long time if anyone's ever done a journey map before. What I'm going to do is possibly ruin the process for you because you'll never be able to do it in like 2 days. You can do it in like 10, 15 minutes. We're not worried about the detail of this. You'll note that I've already done it in advance, so just to make sure I don't miss anything. But that's a bit of a pro tip. If you can start to map that process out beforehand, especially if you conduct a pre-sprint, it makes everything a lot easier. Your goal for the sprint is not just about the process, it's to make it as easy as possible to get people to an outcome. So when you do a journey map, I always suggest you start off with your goal. In the case of Fox, the goal is to get to allow the clients to get their dream home. So approve. We then put our actors up, wherever I put those. So we're going to do it from the perspective of our customers. So we've got Laura, Matt and Laura, who are our clients. We've then got Teal, who's our designer who works for Fox. We've got Cherie, our builder, who works with Teal and will take over the process once it gets approved, hopefully. And then we've got Michael, our council rep, who's at the end of the line. And we then break down the journey map into 3 stages. We don't have to go down to that micro of like the McKinsey with like awareness, consideration and retention and all of that. We're just doing it really simply. So we're going to have discover. We're going to then have learn. And then we're going to have action. Is everyone with me so far? You can hear me when I've turned my back, I hope. Okay, cool. All right, so if we look at Matt and Laura, their process, and I'm going to miss lots out with this just because I want to keep it super high level, is that they are going to start off in the discover phase. They're going to research. Once they've researched, they're going to meet the people that could potentially help them with their design solution. They're going to make a selection, so this will be on the cusp of learn and action. Once it gets into action, they're more engaged at this point, so they might start using Pinterest and making mood boards, so they're going to ideate. And then they'll get concept designs back and they're going to approve, hopefully. So this is just the happy flow, by the way. And then they'll get a final design back and they'll approve again. Very simple. Come to Teal now. Now, Teal doesn't come into the thing until he meets them. At that point, they select Teal, and Teal does a site visit, or somebody from his team will do a site visit. They'll then work, obviously they won't take verbatim what Matt and Laura say, but they'll use it as inspiration to come up with concepts. Working together. Then once they'll get to concepts, they'll send it across to these guys. These guys will hopefully approve it. If they approve it, it'll go into final design. So, oh, I don't need that. Concept, final design, and then they'll send it up to there. Hopefully they'll approve it, and then they'll submit. Cherry, the builder, well, she's not interested right until the review stage, right until the concept stage, because she'll want to review what they're proposing. And she'll want to make sure it's feasible and start getting costs together so they know it's within Matt and Laura's budget. She'll then, once that's been approved, she'll want to revisit that and then re-quote. And that will go back into final design. Finally, Michael, our popular council rep. He's not in this process right until the end. So what he'll do is he'll get the submission, he'll review it, or someone in his team will review it, and then in our world, he'll approve it. Submit, approve. So there we have, very simply, hopefully that hasn't gone to sleep, our journey map. It's not meant to go in heaps of detail. So we're at the end of the first day of the sprint. Before we let anyone go home, the decider has a task to do. They have to pick a target. Now, for the purposes of the design sprint we're conducting, the fake design sprint we're conducting, I'm honest, we're going to look at this stage. This is the stage the designer's really worried about, because this is really where they first start to work with our customers, Matt and Laura. So from a prototyping point of view, this is the area that we're going to focus on and we're going to build and test by the end of the week. So everyone goes home pretty happy at this point, and we get on to the next stage, which is sketch.